Hey guys, what's up? We're gonna be delidding a 7700K today. This one looks brand new and unopened. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them up in chat about whether it's about computer hardware, delidding, or just whatever like related to computer stuff. That's cool with me. See if the camera angles are good. Yeah, alright, cool. So make sure I'm at least in the frame. Well, the CPU. I don't think you guys care to see me exactly. Man, my boys, I don't know if my boys got me sick or if it's allergies, but man, my nose has been kind of crazy. No coughing or anything though, so that's good. If audio levels are kind of weird, let me know also about that, guys. If the music's too loud or too quiet. Music today is Foxtails, F-A-U-X, Tails. And I don't know how to say this, but it's his Karios album. I kind of like it. Let's see, I'll need some Liquid Pro. A few more things out of this box before it disappears. So when I do a delid, it only takes about maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes to actually do the actual delid process and like clean and everything. About 30 minutes, but the actual time to let it cure is a little longer than that. It's about an hour total, hour and a half total. Gonna blow the tool out real quick. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Hope there's not too much wind noise, guys. It's hot. Well, I don't know, I can't say it's hot. It's about 78 degrees, but it's a beautiful warm day in Huntington Beach today. And I don't know if it's weird, but I'm happy to be in the garage doing this than at the beach. But I wouldn't mind going to the beach after this, honestly. Head over to Pacific City, where I'd love to get some Portola coffee, maybe something from Burnt Crumbs, which is a super good food place out here, guys. Dude, Matt, what's up, man? Happy you made it. I'm gonna be delidding a 7700K, dude. Did you happen to use that stuff NZXT sent you yet? Or is it kind of sitting waiting for a bigger project? Guys, this rocket cool kit is really cool. Just line up the let's see if we could get this in here. Just line everything up, the triangles. That's how you know you get this in the right way. Make sure it's nice and seated. I'm gonna crank it down and we'll see if we could get the pop to go through the mic. Some of these are loud, some of them not so loud. That's cool, man. Are you able to talk about it, or is it like a NDA thing? If it's an Intel build, let me do that delid for you, man. Of course, unless you ended up buying the tool yourself. Alright guys, so I didn't really point it out too much, but on the tool, let me get the other one. On the tool, we have this little metal piece that slides. So now that I have this cranked down, I'm just like getting that to rest against the IHS, the metal part of the CPU. And then now is when we'll crank down on it, and that's when the actual seal is broken from the silicone Intel uses. Oh, nice, dude. Oh, you're doing a Noctis build. I didn't realize that. The ROG Noctis is pretty cool. I've only done one Noctis build. Okay, so if you guys were to do this at home, one thing you could, I doubt this will pick it up, but you'll see the letters start to move around as the IHS gets pushed that way. It'll tighten up right before it pops. It's getting nice and tight. At this point, I'll back off a little bit. I'll go back all the way just to kind of let the silicone have a chance to be worked a little. So I try not to just rush right through it. And there it went. This one wasn't very dramatic, it didn't really pop. Some of these are really loud, like ball joints on a car. I know I kind of say that every stream, but in case this is the first stream someone watches, don't be alarmed if you hear this thing pop like ball joints on a car coming out. You've done the H440 though, right, Matt? I think you have. It's, as you know, it's identical to that thing. I know Derek has done his magic on those. Are you gonna go crazy and mod it? I assume you are. Matt's mod, after all. I was thinking about, you know, I've been watching Aaron take on his Manta build again, and I can't help but want to do an MATX board in the Manta. I have my 7700K in the BH2. Yeah, dude, the Noctis definitely has some cool lines. I lost my train of thought. I was talking about the Manta, yeah. And I thought it'd be cool to put my 7700K in there. Like, that way it could be in a MATX build and still something, like, unique. That's why I like the BH2 so much from Case Labs. So guys, there's the actual CPU itself. That's the die, and if you pull your cooler out from a video card, you'll see like the video cards have the same style processor, like it looks the same. So now what I'm gonna do is clean that up. So the whole time the CPU will stay inside that tool, and unless I take it out to blow it off. The IHS is more rugged, and you know, it's just metal. I used some tools out of the iFixit kit. Yeah, these aren't really intended for how I use them, but I use this tool to get the silicone out of the edges here. I use Scotch-Brite to get the large portion though. This little guy here is amazing at like getting this silicone off. I love just buying this kit for this alone was worth it. And when I bought this, I originally didn't think I was going to use these tools for delidding. I just bought it because I felt it's a good kit to have on hand. Yeah, dude, the bullet is awesome. I kind of like how yours is rolling around topless. I think I'm approaching 20 CPUs. I haven't done a ton of them, but delidding has kind of been cool because most enthusiasts build their own computers, but this is like a service I could offer to enthusiasts. Just because what I charge for this, it's usually a little cheaper to have me do it than to buy everything. Cause like the tool alone, like the Delid tool on the resealing kit, it's 38 bucks plus shipping. And then you figure you need to buy silicone and liquid ultra. So I think everything comes out to about, I would guess probably 60-70 bucks. And I do this for 50. What I'm thinking about doing, Matt, is offering like a loaner CPU thing too, man, for some guys that like only have one system. It just came up casually when I did Sublime Tech's Delid that he's like, oh man, it's gonna be tough not having my system, and it ended up being his only computer. So I'm like, dude, I sent them out my i3, my 7350K. And I think for strangers though, like just random people, I would probably get the Pentium though. Yeah, so about 70 bucks, I would say, for if you had to buy everything yourself, not including this stuff. So at this point, this will be good to go. Now I could actually clean stuff off and put some elbow grease into it. These paper towels are they're Kimtech scientific paper towels for delicate jobs, quote unquote. And they arrived and they ended up being like basically tissue paper, but they're supposed to be like lab quality. But that's what I use to clean, like wipe stuff off the CPU and stuff. I'm gonna get my handy dandy chair. It's because it kind of puts me at eye level. Let me make sure the cameras are okay. Yeah. So I'm basically just working off of one of these IKEA desks, and then I got the raised, the long legs that they sell that are adjustable. It's like, I feel like it's a rip-off, but they have you with convenience. So, and it's great because when I do like cable management or stuff like this, I could sit on my desk chair and everything's like right there, like at eyesight. So I got the bulk of the silicone off with that tool, the blue tool, and then there's just a little residue left that I get off with this paper towel just by rubbing it. And I don't even need to put like a ton of effort into it. There's some stubborn spots, but for the most part, it'll come right off. Yeah, dude, it's actually in the build. It's in that build right there, which is how I'm like watching chat, ironically. I used the crosshair too, man. So I have a love-hate affair with Ryzen at the moment. Just because I think there's still a lot of like little bugs. So when I put this build together, it's a 1600X. I got an NVMe drive, one of the Corsair ones, and then I had my my RAM out of the 7700K, which is 32 gigs over two 16 gig sticks. And I would get intermittent boot hangs and little stuff like that, and it's only 2400 megahertz RAM. So I didn't think it was an issue, being that it's 2400 megahertz. I adjusted the SoC voltage. I've done a lot of the little things that they say you should do, and it was just real weird, real buggy. I got the crosshair board, and then I honestly think I just had a defective one, because that one would throttle under load when I'd overclock. So stock too in the crosshair board would score like 1200 in Cinebench, and the prime board scores consistently 1235 every time. So I don't know what was going on with the crosshair board, other than I think it was defective because the throttling under certain, like, you know, if I was stress testing, it would throttle. And I'm not even doing crazy stress testing, guys. Just sensible stuff like you know, real bench stress test. So I put the prime back in. I put 8 gigs of RAM over 2 sticks, so 2 4 gig sticks, and I have 2 SSDs in, and this thing has been rock solid. Like, I couldn't have asked for, if this was my experience from the start, I would say that it'd probably still be my daily driven system, because you know, I actually gave Ryzen the chance of like, I'm gonna make this my daily driver. and I did that for about a week and a half, and it wasn't bad. I mean, coming from the 5 gigahertz 7700K, you'd notice a little bit of IPC, you know, slowdowns. But, dude, if you're coming from like an older generation and you go to Ryzen, if it's gonna feel fast. But yeah, so I went back to the Intel system, and now this is my bench system. Yeah, and then it was funny because I was in the Puget stream where they were building, Houston was building some computers, and I asked if they're doing Ryzen yet, and I guess it hasn't passed their quality control or something. I mentioned how some of the issues I had with the crosshair, and someone in the chat said the crosshair has been known to brick itself. I just don't know how accurate that is, but you know, those issues I had were definitely weird. So guys, right now I'm using red Scotch-Brite to just kind of clean off the silicone. This shouldn't take off, I mean technically it could take off metal if I like sat in one spot, but this shouldn't really take off any metal. This is really just to get the silicone off, and then I move on, because I want to keep this as nice and flush, you know, as I can. And then what I do after I get all that silicone off, so you could see it's kind of like almost there, and then this is where I use that black pick. So now I notice too with the newer kits that Coolit does, they release a wooden pick, so you could probably get a few uses out of that. Yeah, the Prime, I've been really happy with the Prime. I wish Asus supported it better because it's still in the 600 series BIOS, but the crosshair is like in the 1100 series. So Asus is lagging on the BIOS for it, but oh, and I seem to have an issue when I touch the LLC. It'll trip out things where it'll hang on the desktop. But I mean, I could still overclock on it with auto LLC. So it hasn't really stopped me there. It's just with the 1600X, I'm just kind of leaving it stock for now until things mature a little bit more. But No Bear Claw has had a good experience with his MSI B350. Some people have had really good luck with Gigabyte boards, except I don't really care for their BIOS. So now I'm just kind of going around the edge. I'm curious what Intel's going to do with X299 though, because I'm sure those will be soldered on, even the 4-core one, because of the series. It just kind of sucks that we need to do this to a processor to, you know, it's like this isn't magic, guys. It's like Intel just used crappy thermal paste. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Because I mean, I use Noctua on the cooler. I don't use Liquid Ultra or Liquid Pro on the cooler. So I'm still seeing large drops in temperature. Just sucks that Intel didn't put something better in there. Yeah, dude, I hate Gigabyte's BIOS, but man, their motherboards are starting to look really cool. And it's nice that Intel boards have like the native Thunderbolt built right into it. So for some people, man, it's like such value in that right there. But I'm with you, dude. I think, man, I don't know. I hate their BIOS, dude. We used that board on the Bud Light build just because, I mean, all that onboard LED is so awesome for a system like that. And I got like all these fans running, and it's still having this headset on is not making me feel cool. Alright, so at this point the IHS is pretty much spotless. I'll go through both of these with alcohol, and then we're gonna actually apply the Liquid Pro. So to my understanding, the Liquid Pro is the better performing of the two. You know, in Tom's hardware review, I mean, it was only like 1C cooler than the Liquid Ultra. But some people like Liquid Ultra because I guess it applies easier. But as you guys will see, I don't have any issues applying Liquid Ultra. I'm sorry, Liquid Pro. That's what I've been using for a while. And I've noticed too when I use like NTH1, it'll lose a few like degrees Celsius over time. So I mean, honestly, and the gains are there. Like, so when I did testing, guys, I went from Intel stock to NTH1, and on my 7700K I saw like a 13-degree drop in temperature. And then going from the NTH1 to Liquid Pro, I saw another 10 degrees. So in my own personal 7700K, I saw a total of 23 degrees Celsius lower temperature using the Noctua NT, or I'm sorry, the Noctua U9S cooler. So it's basically allowed me to do 24/7 5 gigahertz on an ITX build. I don't stress test in the summer, but now when I stress tested in, you know, like 70 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Fahrenheit, temperatures are actually in the 70s rather than through the roof. Okay, now let's clean up the, I'm gonna just clean my hands off real quick before I clean off the CPU. Yeah, dude, 23 degrees Celsius. Some processors I have tested before and after, but I've only tested before and after on a 212 Evo at stock voltages. But at stock voltages, I see about 10 to 12 degrees Celsius drop. The drop should be bigger with higher voltage, because that's really when the problem kicks in. But even at stock settings with a 212 Evo, on my test bench, I get about 10 to 12 degrees Celsius cooler temperatures. I'm just gonna clean everything. I'll actually move the camera in so you guys could see more of what I'm doing. Should probably silence my phones before I start a stream. Just making sure like things look nice and clean. They look good, but I'm gonna just do it one more time. Make sure this is as clean as I possibly can get it. And then to remove any potential lint, I'm going to use my air compressor, which does have a filter, so you know, no humidity and stuff should pass through. And I lightly press it too. I don't need like full 100 psi running through it right now. Perfect mirror finish. So now we get to apply the Liquid Pro and then silicone. Get my chair out of the way. Here's the stuff we're gonna need next. And then guys, this stuff has been awesome at applying the Liquid Pro. These are kind of, I got these off Amazon. Micro applicator brushes. I guess it's big in makeup. But, you know, great for what we're doing here today too. I'm going to try not to jitter the camera too much. Let's see, what can we do with this? I'm gonna have to lower the camera. Let's see how close we could get it. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna be trying to increase the exposure real quick. Okay, let's see. So it doesn't take a lot with the liquid stuff. Actually, I'm gonna take my headset off real quick for this. Okay, let's get the focus back in. Hold on, let me fix that manually. Okay, so you can see it's not a huge amount that's on there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this applicator brush. It's a lint-free, low absorption brush. It's probably why the makeup people like it so much. And the first thing I'm gonna do, and this is the key to get this stuff to spread, is you push down on it. See how it kind of runs away? And then you could just slowly start working it outside of its zone. And that's how you get this stuff to stick. I mean, if you did not do this, and like with normal thermal paste, and you just throw the IHS on, it would run and who knows where it'd go. So this is the key. It's like you kind of gotta paint it on. And it's very, very much a liquid. It's like mercury looking. So that's basically it on this side. And then if we don't do anything with this side, I should scuff it up. If we don't do anything with that side, it's not gonna stick either. So I normally, actually, this is something I do also real quick. Just run the IHS on some, it's about 800 grit paper, sandpaper, just to make sure there's no weird edges from the Scotch-Brite. I don't sit on it because I don't want it to actually take much metal off. I'm just gonna scuff up the IHS so that it'll, you know, kind of grip it. Let's clean it off. I'm gonna blow this off real quick. Okay, let's wipe this down real quick. Let's get a new piece of paper. Try to make sure everything's as clean as possible. I'll show you guys where I put the silicone on too, because I do not apply silicone around the whole edge. If someone wanted me to, I would. I'm not opposed to it. It's just I kind of want to make sure this sits as close as possible to the CPU die. So I only apply silicone on these tabs. These are the tabs where all the pressure from the the socket goes anyways. So now that that's nice and clean, we scuffed it up a little bit. And I just do this with what's left on this brush. You just kind of paint the IHS. And I hope the camera's picking it up. That way, once these two surfaces touch, they'll just bond, and the thermal paste will just, it'll be happy. Just gonna paint on some happy little trees over here. Gosh, I hope that's not copyrighted. Just gonna, this IHS looks lonely. I'm gonna paint a little bush here. Okay, so that is done. I won't need you anymore. That looks good. We're gonna put this handy dandy clamp that the guys at Rocket Cool include if you buy the reseal kit. And then we're gonna put silicone on this tab, drop it down, and then we're basically done. Let's get my silicone out. And I apply this stuff with like a flathead screwdriver. Don't get too scientific with that part of it. Excuse me, guys. Just gonna put some on this metal tin I have. Make sure you guys can see, so I turned away for a sec. So the amount I'm putting on here, I'm not trying to make it like a big old blob, but I do want it to push out a little bit when it goes on, just to make sure it kind of hugs everything. I haven't had one of these come loose, but if that ever did happen, I would totally reseal it for the client. I don't warranty that I'll damage a CPU, but that's why I use, you know, some of the best tools I can for this. I don't want to be careless just because, oh, I don't warranty it. Too bad. I want to make sure I never ever kill one, and I haven't. So that looks good. That looks good, and then we're gonna drop her down. Make sure we put it the right way. Cool. Okay, come on. There we go. So we're almost done. Now what I do, I get another pocket screwdriver, and then there's a lip that's exposed here. I make sure I push the CPU downward. That way the IHS, pushing down right now on the IHS, I could kind of tell to make sure everything's going to be nice and square. Kind of pull down on the IHS also. And then my magic that Rocket Cool doesn't tell you about is I put a quarter down here so that when this presses down on it, it spreads the weight more evenly. It's not necessary, I don't think, but I did notice when I was doing NTH1, there was like a dimple in the silicone where it looked like this could be pushing down. So I do this to kind of distribute that nicely. Everything looks nice and square. So now we're gonna clamp her down. There's still no weight on the CPU until I screw down the bolt, the plastic bolt. So what I do is I push down, I release, I push down, I release, and then I push down one last time, kind of feeling it out, and then I leave her alone. What I do with this too is I'll put it under my heater on low, so it'll warm this up to about 30-35 degrees Celsius, and I'll let it sit there for like 30 minutes. And I could pull it out in 30 minutes and it'll be okay. The bond has been good. If I could leave it there an hour, even better. And then you could go straight home and install it with no problems. Technically, the resealing you don't need to do. Also, guys, if you do this at home, what you would need to do though is be really careful when you install the CPU in your motherboard, because when you pull that clamp down, it'll move the IHS, the metal part. So what you could do is you could compromise by putting the IHS up a little higher, so when that clamp from the socket comes down, it'll kind of slide it down into place. But honestly, I do recommend just resealing it, because I mean my CPU's been resealed and I still have that nice temperature drop. There's some talk on the internet that some of the increased temperature is from the silicone that's around there, and then the other part of the high temperatures is the thermal paste that Intel used. I don't think that's the case. I mean, by doing this, maybe it's half a degree Celsius cooler than if I went all the way around with silicone. I do this because, you know, why waste? And also, if we ever need to remove the IHS again in the future, it's way easier. Technically, you could probably do it at home. You wouldn't, you know, if you ever were curious. Hey Matt, thanks for stopping by, dude. Yeah, there's no more fun stuff coming up. I'm just gonna ramble on. So thanks for coming, dude. But yeah, dude, so I just put silicone on the two tabs because it's really all you need. You know, when Intel manufacturers, obviously they want to be safer. Now, Ryzen, for instance, Ryzen is soldered on. You don't need to Delid, and you'll actually risk damaging your CPU if you delid. Try to delid. I always forget the guy's name. Hey, what's up, Brownie? You're keyboard warrior, right? I believe. So with Ryzen you can delid, but you need to like heat. Man, it's like a crazy process, and even they use silicone, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the outside edge. Did you just jump in here, man, or were you watching from early? So guys, there's a few of you guys watching. If there's any questions, I'm down to answer them. Computer related, or you know, I'm down to answer any questions you guys might have about my Ryzen build, my Intel builds, my business, whatnot. Yeah, dude, you just caught the tail end. Then I basically just finished this delid. This one went pretty smooth. It didn't even pop when I broke the seal, and everything seemed to have gone smoothly. Speaking of which, let me text message the owner of this because I know he's in the area. I don't know if he's watching, but he drove down here a ways to have me do this for him. Hold on, guys. Alright, sorry. I was just letting the guy know that his processor is done. I don't have permission to use his name or anything, but this is actually going to be his first build. He's using a 7700K, and he's tackling on a custom water loop too, so pretty cool. Pretty cool to see someone's first build be in something so really hardcore, because man, you need patience to do a full-on custom loop. It's not that it's like really hard, but it's just, you know, you gotta be patient because it's time consuming. So yeah, Brennan, I caught a little bit of you on, man, what was that keyboard show? Clack or something? It was pretty cool. I didn't realize you did so many reviews, dude, for keyboards. I was kind of like split. I needed to quote keyboards with this order. And I kind of played it safe with the Logitech Pro G or whatever it is. I don't know, have you used that Logitech, the 10 keyless? It's like those G-Grom switches or whatever. Just gonna clean up a little bit while I chat with you guys. I'm gonna put this CPU under some heat, so if the guy does come sooner than later, it'll be ready. Because I let him know just now it was about 30 minutes to an hour. Hello? Okay, I think we're back. Let me actually make sure that we're still on my Logitech for the mic. We should be. Now, I don't know if this is a Logitech problem or an OBS problem, but yeah, I don't know, it cuts out sometimes. I'm using the Logitech G903, so I don't know if OBS is reporting that it's using the input, and maybe the headset's going to sleep. But I feel like there's been a lot of new switches the past few years that I don't know if it's because like a cherry patent maybe expired or what, but I'm like, man, I feel like I gotta stay a little more current than I have been on switches now, because there's so many of them. Another thing I was saying too is that, yeah, they are gaming builds. I don't know where it cut out, so the guy's company, it was a business, and I asked them, what's it for? Because, 10 computer order. It's like, I didn't think it was going to be gaming, but they said gaming, and they said office gaming. So I don't know if this is an office game room, or maybe they do game developing or what. But if the order goes through, like, if they place the order, I'm going to be for sure curious to ask, because that sounds like a really cool place to work. So yeah, the office gaming, and I was like, okay, let's do it. There's a little bit of a deadline too, so I hope it gets approved sooner than later, because if it gets approved, I know like I don't have a ton of time to do them. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream at this point. How about I pan out to the Ryzen build? I'm gonna try to do some streaming with that thing actually. There's an RX 480 in there now. The client's letting me use it for a little bit. But guys, I'm gonna call it a stream. Thanks for watching. You could catch me on Instagram or Twitter under REMISCS. If you have questions about delidding or anything, let me know. And I do build custom computers out of Huntington Beach. So REMISCS is also my webpage. Thanks for watching, and until next time.